this is day 3 of our set of little trailers for the interview we've done with Kirsty Hughes. And day 3, the question is about, during accession negotiations, what sort of trading terms would the EU offer us?
Yes, absolutely. So what's typically happened in the last few decades is the EU negotiates a trade agreement that goes under the name of an association agreement. And in fact, Ukraine has one of those. It had it before becoming a candidate country. The Western Balkans have stabilization and association agreements. So you would expect that that would be negotiated pretty rapidly, and that would be in place, opening up markets. I mean, and these agreements don't just set a fixed terms of trade. They can sort of say, well, as you show you meet the criteria for services or the criteria for goods, then we may take steps to remove tariffs or to remove checks or whatever it is. And that's why, as I said earlier, my expectation very much would be that as you move through a decision for independence, actual independence, and the application to the EU and eventual membership, it will be a process you can plan and that you can give individuals and businesses and organizations clarity over what, when, because a lot of people say, let's join EFTA because we could join EFTA on day one. Now, there is a question of what happens on day one, but speed is not necessarily always good. You know, you've got to adjust to what is going to happen at the Scotland-England border, and you've got to adjust to opening the border back up to the European Union, and you've got to think where the costs and benefits, if you like, are going to land. So you don't want it to take 20 years, and it's not going to take 20 years, but you don't need to do it on day one necessarily. Even, I mean, I don't particularly think it's possible to do it on day one, but it's not necessarily a good idea. But yes, there will be this association agreement with the European Union, and the whole process, you know, the negotiations could move very quickly. They could take maybe just 2 years, but then you've got to ratify the accession treaty, and that could take 1 to 2 years. And then, as well as the currency, obviously I didn't mention earlier the other big question that comes up all the time, which is about the EU deficit rules. And so the question is going to be, what sort of deficit does independent Scotland have? How high is it? What are the EU rules at the time? How long will it take Scotland to meet those rules? And can it get a transition period if it needed one?
Well, that could be a game changer, couldn't it? As an associate member, we've got trade opening up for us.
Yes, indeed. So for tomorrow, we move on to question 4. And I think this is a really intriguing one. And as you know, there's a lot of discussion on social media about, why don't we just join EFTA and so on and so forth. So Kirsty goes into this in quite a lot of detail.